Well, good evening. I hope you're enjoying your evening at the moment. We have a situation to where a lot of rain has come down in some areas and has caused some flooding. We do have some flood advisories. We have a flood warning that's ongoing for parts of Sevier County. Let me go ahead and show you that first of all real quick, because if you notice, flash flood warning is in a very tightly confined area south of Sevierville and includes Dollywood. That's where the flooding has been the most tremendous. There's a flash flood warning until 9:45. And I want to show you something real quick. If you look, we've had two areas of thunderstorms come and converge upon us. Now, the flood warning that happened earlier that ended up being triggered into Sevier County was because of other rains. Well, now more rain is coming in that direction. We've had this area, had a line of thunderstorms back to the west that came across the plateau into the valley, and then we had one come from the southwest, and they converged right upon Knox County, and that's why we also have concerned of flooding there. There is an advisory until 9:45 for all the area you see shaded there, and that's because of excessive rain. We've had at least 1.5 inches, if not up to 3 inches in some cases, with more rain still coming down, and that's what's leading to these localized flooded areas. The area that is the most intense, though, is the one in Sevier County, and that's where we've had so much flooding that they have certainly needed to get to higher ground in some cases. Now, these are estimations of some of the rain that has come down. Observed rain over in where we have that warning, 4.5 inches, and that's just only in a few hours. 2 1/3 inches has come down just to the south of Knoxville, outside of Seymour, and then 2 1/3 inches also north of Lenore City, and there may be some spots there with greater than 3 inches of rain. And then North Knoxville has had quite a bit of rain too. 2 and maybe 1/4 inches. I'm going to clear this off and highlight one area, because that area has gotten more rain over the past 30 minutes, and that's right north of Knoxville. No, not the road name. Let me go ahead and take that off. That area has received at least a couple of inches of rain, and that's why we have localized. There it is, almost 3 inches of rain. And these continue to weaken somewhat as they move in, but they're still harboring quite a bit. Let me show you the precipitation rate of some of these storms in and around Knox County now that have moved into the eastern part of the county. We've had precipitation rates of almost 2 inches per hour. The airport has already received a 1/2 inch of rain, and probably the next update is going to show more than that. Look at that, almost 2 inches, 1.91 inches there. And even places north continue to get rain anywhere between 1 inch to 1.5 inches per hour. Let me show you some of the flooding that we had video of, and this is Dollywood. Check this out. That's a lot of water, and it just doesn't have anywhere to go. It's trying to flow out into the streams, to the rivers, but unfortunately, it has flooded parts of Dollywood, and we have Bailey Berry to thank for this video here. Here's another picture showing you the water just coming down like a waterfall, and it's just going everywhere. People are trying to avoid it, have umbrellas. That's a good thing, considering we're going to have more rain still even after this batch moves out over the oncoming days. Another video showing you that one of the shops has water flooding into it, and that is certainly a tremendous amount of water that they're having to deal with there. I'm going to show you again real quick the radar, because I'm going to point out a couple of different things too. Even though this area is weakening and shrinking, a lot of lightning is going away. We have a few lightning strikes in the eastern part of Knox County. We're still going to get some rain training over some of the same areas. You can clearly notice that we have more rain back to the east that'll be coming in right down I-40, right where I-40 and 75 meet. There's still quite a bit of rain there. I know it's not red, but it's steady rain, steady, moderate rain with maybe some embedded heavier downpours. So this evening, not only are these areas that have flood advisories, flood warnings that we are concerned with, everywhere else, there may be some minor flooding in places over the roads, the typical areas you probably know about close to your house that flood. You don't want to go there right now until all of this mess moves on. It is going to eventually clear the area, and that'll be probably about 2 hours from now for most of it if it doesn't rain itself out. But that's not the last of it. We are going to potentially get more rainfall. I'm going to go ahead and go to a model data to show you the possible amount of rain in the long term over the next days. Now remember, this is just one solution. This is not the gospel on exactly how it's going to form, because when we get spotty showers and storms, it's not like a line developing up ahead of a front that we can time out almost perfectly a lot of times. It's going to be widely scattered. Now watch this. This is Monday, 8 o'clock in the morning. Scattered showers and storms. Kind of a batch because there is an upper level weakness in the atmosphere that's causing this, and we have so much moisture in the atmosphere. For instance, if you could take a column of air where you're standing all the way up in the atmosphere, condense all the moisture out, it'd probably be about 2 inches or more moisture if you can just dump on you, and that's how much is in the atmosphere, and that's why we're getting this amount of rain. And then if we go out a little bit more in time, you can see the evening, we have more showers and storms fanning out. And you got to watch this on Tuesday morning. You see all this up to the north that's forming? That is what we call an MCS, a mesoscale convective system. And it's expected, and it's been, a lot of the model runs lately have been pretty consistent on bringing that in, especially in the extreme northeast part of the state, early Tuesday morning. And that's going to cause some serious flooding. There's also a possibility of some severe storms too, although slight risk that they're going to get severe. You can see this is Tuesday evening. We have some more that are going to develop. And a lot of these look like they're going to develop where that MCS ended up coming through and weakening. There's a little ripple or energy left in the atmosphere that helps blow up some more, not to mention that the heat in the afternoon is going to help out too. And you can see those are moving west, which are typically not the right direction. We usually get them out from the west, moving east, north to southeast, north to south. But when they move east over the mountains to the west, that's a little bit more unusual, but nevertheless, it's showing still waves of moisture coming in. Even on Wednesday, we can get some more, although the chance comes down. So what does that really mean for you? Well, it means that we're going to continue to have flooding risks, not only for this evening with these ongoing flood warnings and advisories, but a potential flooding for the next 3 days. So potential flooding is possible, which means primarily just the poor drainage areas, and some of the streams can spill over the banks, and that causes some of the minor flooding. But where you see the yellow, there's a potential for flash flooding, more likely, at least elevated in those areas. And that does include the extreme northeast part of the state. We go out to Tuesday, and this is the reason why it's elevated on Tuesday in those yellow areas, because of the MCS I was showing you that could potentially develop and move there. Now here's the caveat. When they do, we have to wait till really they've developed to know exactly where they're going. It could be 25, 50 miles in a different direction when it does happen, but it looks likely that it's going to develop and move in somewhere in the state. And then as we go into Wednesday, it's a possibility that we can get some more localized flooding everywhere you see where it's green. And I know you're thinking, well, we have a drought. We have a lot of areas that need the water. But getting it this fast and this much in a short amount of time is what's leading to the flooding. It just runs off. We needed a good soaking in. It does help to have all this rain. Certainly the next drought monitor that comes out will probably back off more on the drought across East Tennessee. But that takes a little time, because it takes time for the effects of the rain once it comes down and gets into our waterways, once it comes down and soaks up into the ground. Okay, let's go back again. I'm going to recap and let you know what's going on once again to show you what we're dealing with this evening. And that's why you need to probably stay put if you don't have to be anywhere at the moment. Just wait till all of this passes off a little bit to our east and it starts calming down. In the meantime, flash flood warning till 9:45, and that's for that portion you see in Sevier County, and it's south of Sevierville. Pigeon Forge is included. You can see a couple of the roadways there. We got Canton's Chapel Elementary School showing up, Big Ridge School showing up, and those areas are the ones that have water that's freestanding and flowing over some of the roads, and of course in and around Dollywood. Backing up, there is that flood advisory, and that's until 9:45. And that's primarily because of some minor flooding. Could be coming over the highways too, because I know there's a place on I-40 coming in when you're going east, getting closer to downtown, that typically has a lot of freestanding water on it, especially in the fast lane or the left lane. So you don't want to be there. You want to be over on the other side and take it a lot slower, because you can hydroplane very quickly if you're out in this kind of weather with this much water coming down. Now, as they converged, there was a big downpour that happened in that area where the convergence happened, and that's why we're having this flood advisory. But they're also kind of raining themselves out, shrinking up, weakening, and you don't see as much lightning associated with it. Of course, the sun's setting soon. We're losing some of the heat, and that's another reason why they're going to get a little weaker as they move on. Estimations, again, of the rainfall as soon as it comes back up. Observe rainfall in excess of 2 inches in a lot of swaths in these areas. You see where the reds are, the oranges that show up. See that legend on the top? That's showing you it's more heavier type of rain, and also up in excess of 2 inches coming down. A lot of it's come down in just less than an hour's time. Out in Sevierville, let me go and see how much we are picking up now, because it's starting to get a little bit more rain in those areas after that first initial batch came through. Still showing about 4.5 inches. I'm going to back up a little bit as soon as I can here and try to stop it on the radar to show you what was causing that earlier. Let me pause this, go back, bear with me. See that? This was 5:15, and there are heavy downpours that was happening at that time with thunderstorms forming. That's what caused the initial flash flood warning and the droves of rain that came down in a short amount of time and flooded Dollywood. Going to back it up even more. Let's see if I can show you some of the other systems that came through. It started earlier where they had a little bit of rain in some spots. You can see those showers getting heavier right on top of Pigeon Forge at around 4:45 or so, and then it just kept coming. And it wasn't moving much. I mean, look at that. Even though it expanded out toward the east and northeast, it just happened in the same area. Then it got a convergence of another cell or another thunderstorm to the south that rained and trained over Gatlinburg a little bit. There was a break and more rain just coming in through the rest of this evening. Fortunately, though, if you look back behind it, we have more light rain that'll filter in, so the water will eventually run away. It'll just take some time. I'm going to go back to videos just to show you the flooding. If you're just watching us now, maybe you just saw this. This is Dollywood flooding pictures or videos that were sent in, and you can see how tremendous the flooding has amounted to. It's just flowing extremely fast. And it's easy to get displaced. If you have water like this running over roads, for instance, your car, you think, oh, I'm driving real heavy car, it's thousands of pounds. Well, water is very heavy, and if it's flowing extremely fast, it doesn't take much. That car can start to float, start to lift, and it'll just get washed away, and you'll have no control over it. So that's why we say you always need to turn around and don't potentially drown. Because of water like this, you really don't know how deep it is, you know how fast it's going. Your car may not be as heavy as some others. You see other real heavy cars going through and they're fine. You get to your car, you're maybe a littler car going in, and boom, you just can't do anything. You just start being taken off with the river of water that's happening. Here's another video. Let me go to this next one. This is also video of it coming down. You can see it's just pouring over a lot of the roofs, and probably some of the gutters just can't handle it. Usually don't get this much. It's not Florida where it rains like this just about every day. So gutters there are certainly much larger, but here it just has nowhere else to go. Another video, this is showing one of the shops that I showed earlier. And look, it's just flooded all over the place. And it's going to be a mess to clean up too. It's not, as soon as it runs away, I'm sure there'll be sediment and stuff left, and they'll have to clean up in Dollywood as much as they can. Now, the rest of the night, this is the way it's looking. We're going to have temperatures stay steady, probably around the low 70s to near 70 degrees. There will be a possibility of a few spotty showers forming throughout the night. I don't believe it's going to rain all night. This is just depicting that there will be a possibility of some rain as we go through the night. And then tomorrow, we'll have it redevelop early in the morning with some scattered showers, maybe an embedded thunderstorm. And then as the day progresses, they'll become a little more numerous and a little heavier, and also more of a likelihood you'll see more thunderstorms, or at least more lightning associated with them. Now, as we go out in time, I'm going to show you the 7-day real quick, as long as I can get to that. And I'm going to show you a couple things. One, tomorrow, 70% chance. That's because it's going to be broken up a lot, and they'll be widely scattered across the area. Tuesday, 80%. And the reason that is that MCS I was talking about earlier, a large complex of storms rolling in. There's also a severe component. We could get some small hail, might be some damaging winds, but primarily we're talking about heavy downpours, some frequent lightning, and some small hail possible out of this next area. And Tuesday into Wednesday, there'll be another disturbance that rolls in. These are periodic, and the timing varies by an hour or so, but they'll be rolling in periodically through the next 2 to 3 days. And that's why we're cutting in. We're going to also make them weather impact alert days, especially for tomorrow and perhaps Tuesday as well, because of the concern of what you need to be alerted about. And then we got temperatures really starting to warm up again. Once the rain comes down to just a slight chance in the afternoon, like we typically get in the summertime, you see on Thursday 20%, Friday 30%, our temperatures heat up. You can see they get back into the low to mid 90s, but that's not the whole story. Our dew points are still going to be in the 70-degree range, maybe even middle 70s. And when that happens and temperatures this high, we have heat indices that get well above 100 degrees. So we'll have heat indices perhaps 100 to 105 possible on some of these days. And then Saturday, there is some indication we'll have another batch of rain possible. Right now, it seems to be more Saturday than Sunday, but of course it's fluid, and as we approach, we'll modify our forecast accordingly if it's necessary. So to end this and wrap it up, we have a flooding potential not just in the advisory that we have for Knox County, not just in Dollywood and that area of Pigeon Forge, south of Sevierville that got massive flooding. There is a potential of some minor flooding in other places that maybe not elevate to that flood advisory. And the next couple of days, we may have more advisories and flood warnings because of all this rain that we're going to continue to get, probably until Wednesday, when we notice the chance of rain start tapering off. So one more last look at radar, and then you can watch us tonight on Fox 43 at 10 o'clock, or you can watch us tonight at WBAR, Channel 10, at 11 o'clock, and we'll recap. But of course, I will come on if necessary. If things tend to ramp up and perhaps we have more major flooding like we saw in Dollywood, I'll do another live cut-in as well. Until then, hope you have a great evening, a good start to your work week, and I'll see you soon.